Good afternoon, Teen Riding's family. JuJuan Buford broadcast from Detroit metropolitan area. And what I want to talk about today revolves around the subject of professional persistency and seed time and harvest. And why is this relevant? Like, why do I want to talk about this? Well, I had an experience that just transpired earlier this morning where I had an individual give me a phone call. And in so many words, she pretty much said, look, I'm ready to enroll. I want to enroll in the business plans. I have A, B, C, and D going on in my business, and I have some personal matters. And look, are you still doing that legal thing that you're doing? Because if you are, I'm ready to enroll right now. Now, why am I sharing this with you, right? My glee with that phone call at like 7 a.m. in the morning. It's because I actually met this individual, I want to say approximately, wow, 7, maybe 8 years ago. Yeah, I actually shared information with her about what it is we do 7 or 8 years ago. And when I shared the information with her, she took a lukewarm interest. She wasn't dismissive of it, but it seemed like no matter how many tools or 3 ways or how many times I introduced her to information, she just wouldn't pull the trigger. She repeatedly put me in the land of maybe, or aliens abducted her, right? And so we're taught that, look, the bottom line is most individuals don't make a business decision anyway, particularly when you're introducing a novel product or service until they've been exposed to it several times, right? Entrepreneurs oftentimes need time to wrap their mind around something before they decide to make an investment, if it is something new and once again alien to them. But this sales cycle took a lot longer, okay, way longer. Now, here's the thing. When situations like this transpire, and the reason why I thought this is important is it's real easy to become upset. It's real easy to become frustrated. It's real easy to become dismissive of individuals because you share the information with them once, twice, thrice, maybe even 4 or 5 times, and they just don't want to make a decision. Or they made a decision. Decision is no decision, but they still don't realize that's a decision, right? And so I could have easily became frustrated and upset with her, but I didn't. The bottom line is I knew at that time it just wasn't her season. Now, the story behind the story, and the reason why I also exercised patience is because when I was introduced to this company almost 20 years ago, when I was first starting out as an investment advisor, look, I saw value in the membership. Academically, it made sense, but I was in my early 20s. And yeah, I was a single parent, but the bottom line is I didn't see the world the way I see it today. I just didn't. I didn't place so much value on the decisions that I was making, right? Part of identifying our ideal client is understanding that dogs don't bark at parked cars. One of the questions I ask regularly during presentations is, how much is it worth to know that every single personal business, financial or legal decision you make before will always be the right decision? And if you are at a point where you either aren't making important decisions on a daily basis or you don't realize the relevance or the import of the decisions that you're making, the fact that you are literally making an appointment with your future self by virtue of decisions that you make today, there are times where you just may not necessarily see value in it the way you should. You don't weight it as much as you should, right? So the 20 some odd, early 20s JuJuan Buford that had actually enrolled in the plan, I didn't keep it. I had it maybe for 6, several months. I did utilize to get a couple things done, but for the most part, I wasn't gung ho about it. And that was a wrap. And then literally, wow, just thinking about it, over almost a decade transpired. It was a decade, pretty much, before I was reintroduced again, and I made a decision to actually make the investment. Now, what changed? I changed. My daughter was older. Now I'm a business owner. I'm running my own financial services agency. I have all these responsibilities in terms of compliance, taxes, concerns about litigation, concerns about intellectual property matters, et cetera, right? These things became very prescient. And I realized how important my decisions were. And I also had reached a point where I understood that while hard work and talent, intellect are common denominators of success, right? It's important to have those things. At the end of the day, teams win championships. And I knew I wasn't a know-it-all. And I knew enough to be, as an adult, but also as a business owner, to understand it's not what you know that kills, is what you don't know. And I knew that I didn't know what I didn't know. And that's why a resource like this became valuable, right? And so that's where the patience comes from, right? When you meet people, sometimes there are just different seasons of their lives and they just don't know what they don't know. And sometimes people have to get, kicked in the mouth. They got to get their teeth knocked out, right? Robert Kiyosaki says it all the time. He says, if you don't have a good marketing person, if you don't have a good legal team, if you don't have a good tax and accounting team, if you don't have these things in place, business is not flag football. It's not the Kool-Aid that you see on Facebook and Instagram. You will eventually get your teeth knocked out. And, not to be facetious, but that's kind of what happened with this business owner. I spoke with the business owner 8 years ago. They pretty much dragged their feet, not dismissive, but they just really weren't willing to they chose indecision as opposed to decision. And I received the phone call at 7 a.m. this morning. And, she basically started sharing with me about how she started up in a restaurant business from scratch from the residents. And now the compliance is getting in the way. Now the bureaucracy is getting in the way. Now there's concerns about what might transpire if we are operating without a license. Now she's earning revenues, and now she has concerns about taxes, how to maximize deductions. Now she's in a situation where she understands the legal entity that she chooses to build her business in has consequences, right? She discovered that self-employment tax, right? These are the types of things that happen with business owners when they're first starting out. They don't know what they don't know. They don't understand that these foundational decisions that they're making have serious consequences down the line. And then that's when the problems start, right? In addition to that, life happens, right? Life happens to people. And once again, you meet someone in a certain season where either they don't have the bandwidth or understanding the significance of decisions that they're making. A situation transpired where she ended up taking in a child of a friend who was going through a bad time, dealing with an addiction. And what should have transpired, the caretaking situation should have lasted, a couple months. Now it's going on 2 years. And now medical decisions need to be made, schooling decisions need to be made. The parent is disengaged or unable to engage properly, right? And now these consequences are coming up along with certain situations involving her family outside of the child that they may be adopting, right? These are the types of things that happen in people's lives that they just don't anticipate, right? And serious consequences can occur, legal issues, and I would say tax, accounting, financial, any serious issues, they're all like mechanical issues on a car. That when that engine light comes on, it's tempting to ignore it, but we know the mechanical issues on the car never get better. They always get worse, right? And unfortunately, she called me up before things really went from bad to worse, right? Before serious, urgent matters started to occur, she had the foresight to say, you know what? Let me call up Mr. Buford. Now, here's something I want to, a seed I also want to plant. See, I did not throw her away. I have a contact manager. I have a contact manager I've been using long before Prospect by Leadership was introduced, okay? And so as a result of utilizing this contact manager, I continue to drip on her. I continue to send her information on a monthly basis and maybe call her every 3 to 6 months, right? Just to let her know I'm still here. Just to let her know I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to be of service to you. And I also continue to bring value. I continue to share information that I thought would be beneficial to her as a restaurant owner. And she occasionally was looking at that information, right? So just because a person plays you to the post, just because a person doesn't make an immediate buying decision, you don't throw them away. Now they talk about your mama, your family, your children, and say, I hate you, don't ever call me again, and uh, you'll go to hell. Okay, that's different, right? You got to reevaluate some things there in terms of whether or not you want to take that person on as a client anyway. But the bottom line is you don't throw people away, you just drip on them, right? Because a lot of times your success as an entrepreneur is also predicated upon your longevity. Now, I'm going to share something that's going to be very uncomfortable that I know many of you aren't going to like, but it's just reality of the matter. I remember when I first started out as an investment advisor, right? I'm building my network. I'm looking for ideal clients. I'm sharing information with individuals. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why some of them would not invest with me, right? I mean, besides the fact that I was young, I was green, didn't know nothing about money, right? But in any respect, I was learning. Earning as you earn as you learn in every profession. In any respect, but I was smart. I was intelligent. I was a hard worker. I was honest, and I knew they knew this about me. And I remember weeks, months, even years going by, interacting with the same individuals periodically, And for whatever reason, they wouldn't do business with me. And then I would just get the phone call out the blue. Like 2-3 years into my practice as an investment advisor, people that knew me that were hovering around me, or quite frankly, I was hovering around them, trying to get their attention. All of a sudden, the phone calls started coming in, and all of a sudden, it was like, "Hey, can you come into my office?" Right? And then out of the blue, without asking additional questions, "Hey, I'm ready to sign on dotted line. I got this amount of money to invest. I want to make the decision. I want to make the decision. I want to make the decision." But what was going on? They were watching me. Yeah, they were watching me. They were watching to see, did I have stick-to-itness? They were watching to see, was I willing to take the time to refine myself, to become effective and elite at what it is I was doing? They were watching to see, was there any loss of enthusiasm or commitment, right? Because at the end of the day, game recognizes game. Serious people, entrepreneurs, people who have been around the block a couple times, or people who have foresight and wisdom, they understand that successful people oftentimes need to bake and mature a little bit, right? And they look for that in other people that they do business with. And it hurts my heart when I see individuals who get involved as entrepreneurs here at PPLSI, or quite frankly, any entrepreneur endeavor, and they'll put in the work. I mean, I've seen it a million times. I'm not talking about the people who, own some lottery ticket, never really get started out the gate, never really take the time to share and market and prospect, do the right things. Look, I mean, if they catch L's, they catch L's. I'm just being transparent, right? But I'm talking about people whom I've seen put in the work, plant the seeds, right? I'm talking about seed time and harvest. I've seen them plant seeds, share information with a lot of people, take time to do the open houses, to do the prospecting, to inform people properly on social media about what it is they're doing. And then right when the harvest is coming, right when the seeds are germinating and have had time to grow in the soil, they bounce and they miss out on their blessing. I can tell you right now, I know probably 1/4 of all the clients I take on now at the end of the day, they are a result of work that I did 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. Continue to bring value, continue to help people, continue to be consistent, continue to be professional, continuing to show up the way I need to show up in order to have success. And that's why I've benefited as an entrepreneur, because of my willingness to continually show up and be reliable and be consistent. This is something that you have to inculcate within yourself. In the beginning, we say it time and time again. You're going to do a lot of work that you don't get compensated for. So later on down the line, you be compensated for work you no longer have to do. Well, that was work I didn't have to do. I didn't have to hunt that business owner down. That business owner found me, right? And that's part of the equation. So often, because you hear these stories on Facebook and Instagram, ds.com, right? They say you can supposedly start up a business and then the following year or the following month or the following second, you're a multimillionaire. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Once again, game recognized game, established entrepreneurs and business owners or people with a little bit of wisdom, sometimes they will sit and watch you and see whether or not you're serious, see whether or not you have staying power, see whether or not you're someone who's worth a worthwhile investment, right? They don't oftentimes view things in terms of simply buying something. Sometimes they use their money to invest in people that they want to have relationships with. And you have to recognize that. So continue to plant the seeds. Give the seeds time so you will have a harvest. Don't be one of those individuals that got started in the business or in any business endeavor and you're planting seeds, and then right when the harvest is coming, right when there's going to be a windfall, you've dipped, you're gone, you've given up because you weren't committed in the first place. I'm just being real. So, I mean, sometimes there are extenuating circumstances, but typically that's what it is, right? Commitment is doing the thing that you said you would do long after the emotion and enthusiasm of the moment is gone. And understanding that success as an entrepreneur is a process, it's not an event. So when you come across situations like that, don't throw people away. Don't get pissy with them. They didn't wake up today and say, I want to make you a millionaire. That's not what people do. They don't wake up and say, hey, I love you, Mr. Buford, I'm going to make you a millionaire. No, they're getting up in the morning and making decisions that they believe meet their interests, right? It's not about what's most important to you. It's not about how interesting you are. It's about it's not about how interesting you are. It's about how interested you are in them, right? And so, yeah, this happens on a regular basis. And I felt like I wanted to share that with you. So use contact managers. In our case, use your prospect by PPLSI. Continue to drip on people. When you follow up with them, don't let it always be about the sale or about something, or if you are following with them, Keep the new up front, right? Don't assume that they remember what it is that you shared with them, quite frankly, even 2 days ago, much less 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years. I follow individuals on a regular basis. I say, hey, look, I'm still here. I want to let you know we've made some upgrades and some changes I thought may be of real interest to you. I understand you've reached A, B, C in your life. You have children, estate planning. Maybe you're marketing your business online. Have you considered protecting your social media profile with services that protect your VPN, identity theft service, either for your business personally? Hey, I see you're leveling up and taking on employees. Do you have an employee handbook? Have you considered getting independent contractor agreements and non-circumvents in place? Follow up and understand that, once again, they probably don't remember, but they do remember this. They remember how they felt. People may not remember what you say, but they do remember how you made them feel. So that's why, once again, cajoling and beating people down and making fun of them or being sarcastic or snarky with them because they didn't make a buying decision right then and there is not an effective long-term play. Remember, the bag is getting people to a point where they're advocates for you, where they like, know, and trust you, and they're willing to tell other people about you. That's the bag. If you have 3,000 raving fans, you'll never have to worry about taking on 3,000 to 5,000 to 20,000 clients, because they will bring the clients to you. Remember the bag, right? So instead of lighting her up like a Christmas tree several 8 years ago and calling her stupid, I may have been thinking it, but I certainly was going to say it. Instead, it was just polite with a smile. Hey, I'm here when you need me. So hopefully this serves you. Have a fantastic day. I celebrate success in advance. Okay, once again, I got to figure out how to use this. This is amazing. I still have not figured out